I went and pulled on the door and nobody's there. I'm like, so those offices were closed on the 23rd. His refusal to swear me in is really just highlighting, like, why are you doing this? What is it about? And I never thought that it had to do with the Epstein files until I've been in this position. And I'm like, there's no other
Course.
reason. There's no other reason.
Welcome to the first episode of the second season of Caucus, the official podcast for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, the CHC. I am Representative Adriano Espaillat. I bring you greetings from New York City, from Washington Heights, Inwood, from Harlem, East Harlem, and the boogie down Northwest Bronx. And so we have with us today a great guest, Adelita who has been elected to represent her district in Arizona, in southern Arizona, following, of course, the great legacy of her father, Raul Grijalva, who we all loved and cherished, and who, through the National Resources Committee, did fantastic work, landmark work across the country. And so welcome, Adelita. Welcome to Caucus.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. It's good to see you.
Same here. Let's start by talking about Raul.
Okay.
We all loved Raul. Everybody loved Raul. His demeanor, and he was a fun-loving guy, someone who was lighthearted and very serious, obviously, about his work. But you know, what do you look at his record? What do you look at, and what do you want to emulate about his record? I mean, he's your dad. We know,
Yeah.
you know, obviously a personal relationship with him. But what do you look at his record, his government record, as something that you want to pursue?
You know, he fought so much for people who didn't have a voice, such a voice for indigenous communities and tribal lands, and for people of color that in education, you know, the bar is set really high for me. And so I'm very proud to be his daughter. But, you know, people say, well, you're replacing him. I'm like, there is no replacing Raul Grijalva. I'm just going to try
That's
do
correct.
my path and remember who I'm fighting for, and remember that, you know, he gave me a lot of lessons, like no te olvidas de donde llegas, de tu corazón y de tu lenguaje, de tu gente, y you know, you fight for what the people, and that's really like DC never changed him. If you knew him when he was here and when he was there,
DC.
it did. And that's a good legacy, I think, is to just, you know, you continue to make sure that, like, I don't think I saw him in a tie after that first year ever. He's like, ooh, I can wear bolo. We're done. Never wearing a tie again.
That's true. But let me tell you how proud we are of you and your poise, your demeanor, also your professionalism, your strength that you've shown throughout this whole ordeal. As the public may know, Speaker Johnson and the Republicans have refused to swear you in and sit you down. And
Yeah.
your constituents are being denied representation while they're being taxed. So it's taxation without representation for almost a million of folks from Arizona. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, there's 812,000 people here that do not have a voice in Congress. And so when my dad passed away in March, the offices still continue to take constituent services. That's one of the only things they could do. So they could still provide constituent services to answer questions, do inquiries, all the things that really are the bread and butter of any member of Congress. You know, you and my dad was known, the office was known for excellent constituent services. So it breaks my heart to know that, you know, like there's viejita that I know that was like, pues fui a la oficina de tu papá, pero no me contestaron. Like, I went and pulled on the door and nobody's there. I'm like, so those offices were closed on the 23rd. And I think people make some assumptions because I'm his daughter, that it's like, I know all these things, that they're just going to hand me over the keys like it was some sort of, like you're the daughter, so you get it. That's not the way the system works. And so when Johnson makes comments about, well, I'm not going to swear her in until Democrats in the Senate do their job, those two things have nothing to do with each other. He's choosing not to have dates where we can actually create some legislation that we can all agree to. The Senate has already turned down the clean CR, which wasn't clean. What is it now? 12 times, 13 times. So that should be an indication that we should be working on what we, the House, can agree on, and then move that forward. That would be a document that we could all get behind, at least willing to live with, right? But his refusal to swear me in is really just highlighting, like, why are you doing this? What is it about? And I never thought that it had to do with the Epstein files until I've been in this position. And I'm like, there's no other reason. There's no other reason, because there are 3 other people that he swore in under 24 hours from the date of their election. 2 Republicans that were sworn in on a pro forma session. We've had like 12 of those since I got elected. And the government didn't shut down for 5 days after my election. So none of those reasons make sense at all. But I think he was just trying to come up with things. And now I think that he has a lot of coraje or something when people ask me about, like, they ask him about me. It's like, well, I'm in this position because you didn't do your job. If you just would have sworn me in, we would have moved on. But the reason why we're in this limbo is because he is purposefully obstructing my swearing in.
Well, let me say how fully we are behind you, and I'm proud that all the Congressional Hispanic Caucus members have spoken out in support of Adelita. We held a press conference to ensure that we put our voice out there and continue to push on a daily basis. We continue to push to have Adelita Grijalva sworn in as a member of Congress. And yes, she will be the decisive vote that will open up the Epstein files. Maybe that's what they're hiding. They're hiding what's in there, and they're afraid to open it up so the American people have a full view of what went on there. And so thank you, Adelita, for your poise, your demeanor, your strength, your professionalism throughout this whole ordeal. I know that you have carried yourself with a great deal of respect for the institution and handle it like a true professional. We're very proud of you. I want to talk to you about a little bit about some of the issues that I know were dear and near to you, to your dad, to Raul. I know that environmental justice was an important one. And, he came to Washington Heights and was part of a hearing that later led to the EPA allocating funding for community-based organization, funding that has been stripped away by this administration, but it was going to give local groups that know firsthand how the environment is impacting them, the ability to address these conditions. Tell me a little bit about your position regarding environmental justice.
Oh, that's the bill that I think my dad dedicated over 10 years of his life to, trying to get input from so many communities that have never been consulted, tribal nations that have not been consulted. And so with, Representative Lee and Representative Tlaib, I am very eager to reintroduce environmental justice for all. I think it's a huge game changer, but also the way it was developed. Like the consultation with the community really, I think, set like a blueprint for me on how you do legislative work and to get things done. And it's going to be huge. I mean, if you ever come down to Tucson and go through Phoenix to come here, you'll see the differences. And the reason why that is because Raul Grijalva was on the Board of Supervisors and created the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan, which has been the development piece for Southern Arizona on how we do this right. And so I was glad to be on the board and expand what the Sonoran Desert Conservation Plan protected. But respectfully, we can't have ecotourism without protecting our environment. And those are jobs that are solid, continuous, and really will be for generations. we have to protect our water and our land and our air, and Trump's rollbacks, not only for funding of projects that are helping communities understand these concepts and respectfully do cleanups and interventions when health consequences have caught up with our communities. We have cancer clusters everywhere. People have asthma. I mean, there's real health, people are dealing with health consequences because of what is going on with our air and water. But Trump is wanting, businesses to do anything they want to our lands. And then we're just powerless to stop them. And we have to push back. I mean, we have an expansion of, databases here that are, AI sort of generated, kind of holding, tanks that suck up so much water. And we live in a desert. And so I think that we have to balance out like innovations with making sure that environmental protections are still in place.
Very good point. And let me say, your dad in natural resources was tremendous. He was able to get Rucker Park, which is the mecca of street basketball in the country,
Yeah.
to be a national site. And he worked with me on that, and we worked on many pieces together, including, of course, immigration. But I know that you have a great and bright future in Congress. We're going to continue to push to get you sworn in and get you to be that decisive votes to open up the Epstein files. And we love your smile, we love your attitude, we love the fight that you have in you, and we look forward so much to working with you to make sure that you bring the resources and the help that your constituents direly need. Thank you so much, Adelita. Maybe you want to close the program with a couple of words for the general public.
Yeah, I'm just very appreciative of the support. And I don't know if the general public understands what it's like to walk into a space and not really know everybody. And, members of the Hispanic caucus have been so welcoming, our Democratic caucus in general. But it's just so nice to be able to talk to people in Spanish, a little bit of Spanglish. It's okay too, to just sort of, feel a little more at home. And the support overwhelmingly from the communities and nationwide has really been very helpful to me personally and to the constituents here in Arizona, because we all know that this is not normal. Waiting 35 days to get sworn in is not normal. So highlighting that it's not normal is a really good thing, because I think that it highlights the dysfunction of this administration and the lack of leadership. And Democrats are stepping up, and the Hispanic caucus is stepping up to be leaders during this really difficult times in our communities, and we're going to continue to fight for you.
Thank you so much. So there you have it, folks. The great Adelita Grijalva from Arizona. She will change Washington just like her dad did, Raul Grijalva. We're happy to have you, Adelita. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you to the Congressional Hispanic members, caucus members that have supported Adelita time and time again. And we will continue to fight to make sure she gets to Congress and is sworn in as quickly as possible, as her constituents surely deserve. God bless you and keep the faith, everybody. This is Congressman Adriano Espaillat.
Thanks for watching Two Caucus. If you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what's coming up next. Drop a comment, share this with someone who needs to hear it. And we'll see you next time on Two Caucus.